Welcome to RBI Baseball Academy's Youth Development Series. Today in part 1 of our series, we will be covering how to structure the first 30 to 45 minutes of any youth practice, but primarily targeting the ages of 5 to 8 years old. Coach Venti and our special guest Anthony Rigo will be covering base running on a ball in the infield, as well as a ball hit to the outfield, gripping a baseball, ground ball and fielding progressions, as well as how to play first. Up first is the best way to get your players warmed up by base running. The last thing you want to do is to start a practice by boring the players and having them sit around, so we like to get everyone in a line and running home to first, then jog back to the end of the line at home plate. A couple of coaching points to focus on here are to make sure the players are running hard through the base and not slowing down before they hit the base on a ball in the infield. Players should try to hit the front of the base as well and not the top. Lastly, you'll notice Anthony not running out of the box in a straight line. It's a common theme at this age, so let's try and get the players running as straight and as hard as they can right away. Second, we teach the players how to run to first on a ball hit through the infield to the outfield. Here you'll notice Coach Venti's placement forcing Anthony to run around him by what we call a banana turn. The banana turn shows Anthony curving his path to first to help him create a straight line to second base from first. In this case, you'll see Anthony taking a hard, aggressive turn and then running back to first once the outfielders make the play. But if the outfielders misplay the ball, Anthony's ready to run straight to second. Next up, here to explain how to properly hold a baseball, Coach Venti.
Gripping a four-seam fastball. While gripping a four-seam fastball, the first thing that we want to do is find the letter C on the baseball, as so, with the laces right here. After that, we're going to make a letter V or a W, depending on your hand size, with your fingers, just like this. We're going to cover the C in the ball with our W or our V to create our four-seam fastball grip, like so. Cut.
Once the players all know how to properly hold a baseball, it's important to teach them the proper ready position in the field. A common mistake at this age is when players get very flat-footed and aren't in a very athletic position and ready to field the baseball. Here you see Coach Venti teaching Anthony to have his feet wider than his shoulders, weight on the balls of his feet, knees bent, and ready to field. It's important to teach this to your team as a group so they're ready to go for the next series of drills. Fielding progression number 1 here is designed to have a coach rolling to a player so the player can field and flip the ball right back to the coach. This keeps the ball moving and allows the players to get a lot of reps in a short period of time. You'll notice Anthony isn't moving his feet and is just working on getting the ball in his glove. Once in his glove, it's an underhand flip back to the coach who's about 10 feet away. We suggest 3 to 6 reps with each player and then having the next player step up, so on and so forth. If a team has 3 coaches and 12 players, the coach should create 3 lines of 4. If the team has 2 coaches and 10 players, then each line should have 5, for example. A coaching point I would stress to Anthony here is to have his fingers pointing to the ground and not the backside of his glove on the ground. We want to open the glove as wide as we can so the ball has as much room to go into the glove as possible. Fielding progression number 2 is essentially the same thing as number 1, only the player starts to receive the ball and bring the ball more towards a throwing position. This drill starts to help them transition from just catching the ball to getting themselves into a throwing position. The players can underhand flip here, but we prefer more of a backhand motion back to the coach. Fielding progression number 3 starts just like 1 and 2, only once the player has the ball, we start them moving towards their target with what we call a jab step. Another phrase we like to use here is ankle eye, where the ankle bone on the inside part of their throwing foot points towards their target like you see Anthony performing here. Righties jab step with their right foot and lefties jab step with their left. A couple of coaching points here for Anthony would be more of a quick jab step and not to worry about gaining so much ground. The other would be to open his foot up more so that his ankle eye is pointing more towards the target. Fielding progression number 4 is adding in the throw. We'll be covering the throwing motion much more in depth in a future video, but the keys here are starting with the players throwing to the coaches and over the course of a few weeks having them throw to each other. Age will play a big role in how quickly they transition to throwing to each other. Our focus on throwing mechanics varies at different ages, but at the younger ages we really just like to see the players getting both elbows to shoulder height when their front foot gets down and keeping their heads fairly still while they throw. Don't get too caught up in arm slots at the younger ages, but we'll explain this a lot more in a future video. Once a coach is comfortable with the players and their fielding progressions, it's time to get them out on the field working on the infield positions. This allows them to learn how to field with their feet and not just receiving with their gloves. However, we always want to take the time to work with everyone on playing first base so the players can throw to a teammate rather than a coach. This takes a lot of work, so be sure to spend plenty of time working with every player on how to play first base. It's a great way to work on catching the baseball in general as well. Here you'll see Coach Venti spending time with Anthony on footwork to first, and then how to receive the ball. Anthony is a righty, so his right foot should remain on the base, while his glove side left foot stretches to help him receive the ball. There's never an age in baseball where throw and catch isn't a critical part of a player's training. Oftentimes, coaches just want to get to hitting so quickly they forget that nothing matters unless they can throw and catch a baseball. Everything else is simply a distant second. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out our first Youth Development Series video. Check back soon for more videos and visit rbiacademy.com for information on all of our ongoing programs.